Hello. Let me know you can hear me alright. How's everyone doing? Good evening. Saturday night means one thing. Means hobby. Reporting in, Killer. Hello. Nathan, what's happening? I'll be painting some Terminators. Firstborn Terminators. I mean, you don't get any other types of Terminators yet. So I might be doing some stuff on Terminators. I might be doing some stuff on Roboto Gillinot? Roboto Gillinot, I think that's where we settled on his name. Yeah, I think that's where we settled. Might actually start using a new brush tonight. I was thinking about that, because I've been using this brush for ages and it's dying of death. 1 second. Well, here's a brand new brush. I like new brushes. I might have some more, hold on. I think that's a newish one. That's a dry brush. I think these are all used. Yes, these are all used. I could get some more new ones. Do I have some more new ones? Might be worth using a bigger brush on this Dreadnought to start with, like a size 3, and then moving down to a smaller one. You also have this layer brush. Let me think. I keep these ones apart though, because these are the brushes that I've been using up until recently. And I feel like all these ones in this tub of brushes, because I keep all of them. I don't really know why I keep all of them. I just keep all of them. Adrian, good evening. Rezio, good evening. What are we painting tonight? Roboto Gillimon. I don't know what this guy's called. He's a Dreadnought. He's a proxy for Gilliman. Nathan finished magnetizing a ball predator. Nice job, Nathan. How are you going to use it? Like, you're running it with the bolters, you run it with something else. Robert, good evening. Hello, Brain. Good evening. This is I'm going to try this synthetic brush. It's a bit of a weird shaped head on this brush. Like, it's not like, it's one of these GW synthetic ones. Am I going to try it? I don't know. It's like a flat head. What is that? What is that for? Maybe I'll just put that down there for a minute. And I'll use this size 3 brush that's never been used. I'm probably going to wreck it. Maybe it has been used. But the point on it looks pretty good. Still kept in this plastic thing, so it looks pretty good. Michael's painting an ironclad. Mike is in the house. Mike, you must be feeling good that you finally finished the giant commission I sent you. Does that mean you get a night off, or a night to paint your own models? What does it mean? What does it mean for you, Mike? What do you get to do? I was wondering, this Marine on the base, I'm going to be painting him, I think I'm going to be painting him as a Dark Angel. I had a chat with Tony and Mark, and they thought it would be appropriate for the Marine on the base, the dead Marine on the base, to be a Dark Angel. I think I agree with that. I think I like that idea. Let me know in chat what you're painting tonight. Let me know in chat if there's anything, because we had a pretty rad hobby video came out this week. A lot of people watched the hobby video this week. It's a bit of a weird time to be making competitive Warhammer content, honestly, because everything is just weird right now for this season. So let me know any weird ideas. It was Lawrence who gave me the idea of that Primaris chaplain on a bike, which I think is awesome. Oh Mike, yeah, you played a tournament today. How'd you get on? What happened? I know you had like an all Dreadnought list. Nathan purchased a Contemptor Incendious class Dreadnought. Nice. I mean, I hope one day we'll get rules for the Incendious class for 40k, right? Like, at the moment, I guess you just can't field them in 40k, and it would be nice if you could. I've bought a bunch of Forge World stuff, but I usually buy it once it has rules for 40k. I mean, I never play 30k, or I've never had the rules or anything for 30k. So if I was gonna buy Forge World stuff from like the Incendious class, I would need it to get some 40k rules, and then I'm getting interested, right? I was thinking as well I might paint this cloak like off black to begin with, like maybe something like a Rhinox hide, because that'll give me some ways of like going deeper on the colours, but also going lighter. I like veteran dreads. Yeah, I mean veteran dreads are cool because of the... Oh, my camera stand just moved on me. Veteran dreads are cool because of the state. Veteran dreads are cool because of the ballistic skill and weapon skill being better, right? I also like their feel no pain. That camera stand is not going to sit where I want it to sit tonight, apparently. Sit, you son of a bitch. I went 1 and 2. The new guard screened out my drop pods. Oh, that sucks. And then Votann, I played Votann at a tournament and did beat them, but I mean, I only beat the Votann at the event that I went to because I was fortunate enough to play Votann. Like, I played Andrew's Votann like 4 or 5 times. If I hadn't had all that experience in playing them, I wouldn't have beat them at the event. So there's definitely something to be said about like just playing games against armies or meta armies, regardless if you win or lose, is valuable because yeah, you know, if you come up against an army at an event that you have no experience against, I feel like you're generally going to lose that game. Like, you can't be expected to beat an army where you know like none of their ins and outs, none of their stratagems, none of their gotchas. I mean, if you do, it's probably just luck, right? So this is why Mark always says, like, knowing your own army is only half the battle. You need to know all the strats for all the other armies. I think that's what some people will get overwhelmed with in Warhammer at the moment. Sellers fought Sisters for the first time the other day. They're way too strong. I mean, if they're bloody Rose Sellers, they are difficult to deal with. I don't know if they're way too strong, they're just really efficient at trading with Marine units. So if you've got a Marine army into Sisters, it's just generally a very difficult matchup because all their units are going to be cheaper than yours and all their units are going to kill probably just as well. I mean, you'll kill them pretty quickly when you get down to it, but it's the fact that they can trade all over the board is kind of the problem. Michael says 10 Stern Guards with Combi Meltas and drop pods. I've got a drop pod that I was planning on building over the Christmas holidays, but with my broken arm I didn't really get as much done as I had kind of wanted. I want to finish my drop pod, but I feel like I'm in no huge rush for a drop pod, especially. I think the reason that I think I'm less in a rush for it now is because with the Arcs of Omen, every Marine player you play is going to be running like double squad of infiltrators. Because infiltrators are almost just too good now in terms of like the amount of screening that they give. I guess Mike maybe found that out the hard way today where he was at a tournament and he just got screened. If you get screened and you need to like make those charges and stuff, like what are you going to do? You're just going to lose, I guess. Hey Voz, good evening! We actually finally finished filming. We haven't uploaded it yet, it'll be next week, but we finally finished the Deathwatch episode, the codex that you sent across, like, probably months ago at this point. But no, thanks for that. So we got a Deathwatch episode coming out this week on the podcast. So that should be cool. I actually didn't realise how easy it would be, like as a Blood Angels player, to suddenly field the Deathwatch list. Like, you almost wouldn't need to buy anything, right? Like, you might want their special characters or something, but for the most part, like, you already own everything that, like, a Deathwatch army is basically just all Space Marine stuff that you probably already own. So if for any reason you want to run Deathwatch as a Blood Angels player, you literally could, you would just need the codex to know what to build, and then you could get started, really. What's your advice on Goth pressure lists, specifically 2 or 3 kill rigs with cavalry, dual beast boss on squigs? Is the beast boss that, like, see the one that like every time you don't get to the wound phase, you get to or every time you don't get to the damage phase, you get to re-roll all his attacks. Because if it is, I remember fighting that in an event, and it's nasty as all hell. I didn't fight it in quite the same sort of list. I fought it in a list that had like kill rigs, and like some scrap jets, and this was back when the Rucka trucks were like super overpowered. So every orc player was running like at least 3 Rucka trucks. Some of them were running 9. They had insane amounts of cash and they just wanted to go completely ham. But yeah, I mean, with orcs, I think that the way you beat them is like you have to expect their wag on like turn 1 or 2, right? And when they do wag, they're going to move. They're going to be on top of you like so quickly. So it's probably controversial to say, but for like a Blood Angels player playing into orcs, you almost like to wait. You almost want to wait out the wag, right? You want to wait maybe like 1 or 2 turns and try and limit like how many charges they get. If you've got shooting, then they're not going to have a whole heap of effective shooting, right? So shoot off some of their models and sort of keep your distance, I guess, until you get Assault Doctrine up, and then until maybe like, because the wag does 2 things. It doesn't just make them better in combat, it also gives them the invulnerable save, right? And normally, like, that invulnerable save will give them quite a bit of value, because like normally Space Marine stuff will just eat right through their armor or even their lack of armor, right? I haven't had too many problems against orcs. And that's usually like my general, John, that's usually like my general approach for fighting orcs, is like they're going to be very strong in like the 2 turns that they call the wag, and if it's a speed freaks list, it's the same thing. They're going to be very strong in the turn that they call the wags, but beyond that you can usually start to mop them up, and they don't have the armor save, or they don't really have the AP to scare Marines too much beyond that. I guess if they've got a bunch of those hammerhead ones that just do the mortals when they charge, that can be problematic, I suppose. But my experience into orcs, I mean, I've only played like 2 or 3 orc players, but I've never had too many problems against orcs. I mean, we're generally faster than them, so I guess like if you can dictate the engagements. And then I guess the other thing is I always, 90% of the time, because I'm not running it in my current list, I run a Whirlwind. And the Whirlwind has the ability to make something fight last, so again, that's very good into the orcs. Some of the orc lists that I ran into as well had what's it called? Gaskell Thraka. And I mean, she's like a wound cap model, so I mean, another reason to have shooting if you're fighting orcs is to be able to deal multiple wounds to him in multiple phases. And I mean, in some ways that's why it's good to have a Psyker. My current list doesn't have a Psyker, but that helps against Gaskell if you can just pickle off some wounds. I mean, I think it's Blood Boil is targeted, right? And I guess if you've got Wings of Sanguinius, you can fly around and smite as well. So there is ways. I don't feel like orcs are the toughest matchup for us. But if you send me your list along with the exact list that you're fighting, we could cover it on the Army List show one time. Have I missed Iron Hands game? Yeah, I mean, I played Iron Hands on Wednesday night, dude, and I beat them, which is a little bit surprising, maybe. They did exactly what Iron Hands do, which is just kill all your models. So it's literally all about scoring. Like at the end of the game, I think I had 4 Terminators left on the board, and he probably had 1,000 points left on the board. I did fail a couple of key charges, which might have. It would have helped me a lot. The turn that Terminators arrived, I think it was turn 3. Both Terminator squads failed their charge. But I mean, I guess that's the weakness of the Arcs of Omen, where shooting units don't have to take that risk, right? Like Iron Hands, for example. Like when you bring in a unit from Deep Strike with Iron Hands, you don't have to worry about making a charge. You just, you're guaranteed to shoot. Whereas Blood Angels have no way of bolstering the charge really, and we're just gonna have to deal with that. So that's what it is, I guess. So you just started a commission on a repulsor mic. Nice. I have a repulsor that I just started putting some paint on for the first time in like years the other week. I figure because this season is just all over the place, I'm just going to paint whatever the hell I want. I'm not going to try and chase meta. I mean, I'm probably going to run Gilliman or this Dreadnought as Gilliman to my GT, honestly. It's either that or it's going to be Black Templars. But I think I'd rather play Blood Angels because that's what I know best, and I mean that's what I typically always play. So it's probably going to be Blood Angels, but with Gilliman. I don't think I'm going to try and take it too seriously, but I think if people aren't experienced in playing against Gilliman and Blood Angels, which I guess nobody is, right? Not many people will have experience against playing a Blood Angels list with Gilliman in it. So in some ways, could actually have a bit of an advantage in that people won't know really what to expect, and yeah, I mean, I'll try and make it work, I guess. Like, I always try my best when I get to the GTs, but like, over the last couple of years, there's definitely been a few events I've gone to, because over the last couple of years I ran to an event where like I ran a super heavy tank, and I ran a strange list to another one as well, I think. So I've just been running what I find fun, I guess, because I kind of thought, you know, the list that like the list that sort of shot to the top there, which was like 3 Sangre Guard, 3 Death Company, the Sangre Ancient, and like you had to do like some jiggery pokery with your detachments to get all that in, because obviously that's too many elites. I ran that once, and you know what? That's the event that I placed highest at, but I don't really like it. I guess it doesn't really suit my playstyle, and I mean, it's a bit one-dimensional, and I wasn't gonna, dare I say, a little bit boring, but I mean, it was what everybody was running, so it's gone now, right? Good evening, Dermot. Is Pro Acrylic a good brand? I have no idea. I'm not an expert painter by any means. I think if I wasn't going to run Gilliman, then I'd probably run maybe like a bit more standard in terms of like maybe double Dreadnought with the Psychic Fortress. Fuck! Just dropped him and broke his spear. Not again. Not again. This fucking spear. Oh, that's a real crack that time. Ah, I'm not gluing that right now. I'm gonna have to drill that. Broke his spear on the other side the other night. Now I've broken it on the bottom side. Son of a bitch. Are you still taking Sangard? I'm taking 5 with Infernal Pistols. I feel like you could probably take more than 5. This is awkward, this conversion to paint. I think I know where my drill is, so it shouldn't be too bad, but ugh, what a pain in the arse. I think you could probably take more than 5, right? You could probably still take like 2 squads Sangard. I mean, everything's failing on me tonight. This fucking camera stand is just moving all over the place. I think that's why I dropped the model. What the fuck is going on? Kill me. Right, stop moving. Now it is a sword. I guess it's now it's a sword. Yeah, maybe you don't need to put that bit on. Oh, that's actually interesting. Maybe we could make it a bit shorter, because I mean it's a bit of a nightmare to transport. I'm tempted. Just make it into something shorter. I mean, it's supposed to be a sword, it's not supposed to be a spear, right? I think you could probably run still 2 squads of Sandguard. I think you could probably run still... Well, I'm still running 2 squads of Death Company. I think the reason that I'm going to run 2 squads of Death Company is for Thunderhammers. If you're going to run Sandguard, I would probably lean towards now running them with all Infernal Pistols, because my experience with the Bolters is the Bolters very rarely do any damage, right? So you could run all Sandguard, run them with all Infernal Pistols. You know what, the Spear not being there is actually going to make this bit of leg probably easier to paint as well, so maybe it's not the end of the world. If you pin it, it'll be stronger anyway. Yeah, I've had to pin the other end of the sword like last week, because I hadn't really opened this model since I moved house res, and I didn't really have it wrapped in foam or anything. So I guess when I moved house, it the sword had broken off, and I had to pin the other end. But do you know what? Like, now that it is broken, a part of me really is tempted to make it shorter, because like when I was positioning him the other night, like, it's hard to hide him behind a bit of terrain because he's got this giant spear that's sticking out both front and back, and he's tall as well. So I mean, I might make it shorter. I like Angelus Bolters. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you like them, great. My experience in tournament play is usually they don't do very much work at all, where I'd much rather take the luck of like 5 Infernal Pistols. Let's just hope that they can do something. If I hit this camera stand again tonight, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Why is this not working? Can I hook it on somewhere out of my way? Right. Stop moving, you piece of crap. Apparently I need to buy a new camera stand. Don't usually paint. I mean, I guess this guy's quite big compared to some of the other projects I've painted. Yeah, I don't know. The amount of times I've had Angelus Bolters and like you've just shot the whole squad, and usually my guys are near the chapter master as well, so it's usually hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s, and it's like, alright, I did 1 wound. So I'm like, what's the fucking point in these? It would just be better to have... Now that Infernal Pistols are free, I don't think there's any reason that I would ever take Angelus Bolters over Infernal Pistols while they're free. I'll take Angelus Bolters if they're free and Infernal Pistols are 5, but if it stays this way, then I probably would never take the Angelus Bolters for choice, right? Sangry Guards still have a place, they're good at killing things. Yeah, I mean, they do 100% still have a place, and I think the problem is you just can't run all Sangry Guard and all Death Company and think that you're going to do well now, because you don't have any durability in that list. And I think that's probably why the win rate for Blood Angels this weekend, or like the first weeks of Arcs of Omen, is going to be so crap, because a lot of people are going to take a little while to figure that out and figure out that like Power Armor Marines have no durability, like literally none. The only ones that maybe have any durability whatsoever, it feels like, is Infiltrators, because the Helix Gauntlet. The rest of us just feel like our durability is just generally pretty poor, I guess. Eradicator's the only unit that I deep strike regularly. Yeah, I mean, well, before Arcs of Omen, I preferred to not deep strike any like killing unit, if that makes sense. So like any unit that was going to have to make charges and kill enemies in combat, I would generally prefer not to deep strike them. The units I would deep strike were ones that would be like doing Nakman data, or like an attack bike with a multi-melta just coming in from the side to try and get like a pop shot, right? Like I would generally be trying not to deep strike a unit that needs an 8-inch charge or a 9-inch charge with +1, because the amount of times I say that that's unreliable, and you definitely don't want to rely on that in tournament play. Like a good example of that is, right, like an 8-inch with a reroll is 66% chance, right? But like at the highest level of tournament play, I don't even want to. I know it's a 66% chance. I know that that means 2 out of 3 times I should pass it. I'm almost like I've been in games where I'm not willing to make that 66% chance roll, if that makes sense. Like I'm looking at the board going, I'm not willing to risk winning or losing this game on a 66% chance, even though like the odds are reasonable odds, right? Like if you're fighting at the top table in an event and you were like, I have a 66, if I make this charge I win the game, you know, like if I kill this key unit I win the game, and I know with a reroll and a charge I get 66% chance, I still don't want to do it because I'm like, it's risky, right? And it is risky, and that's why, like, in the last events where I'm playing like all Sanguinary Guard and all Death Company, I'm starting them all on the table. Like I'm not wanting to start them in Deep Strike because it's risky. But in Arcs of Omen, with everybody else starting all their stuff in strategic reserves, like if Iron Hands or whatever starting like so much shooting in strategic reserves, it's really hard to hide all your units now and screen the entire board as well, so you're not going to get your units picked off by like tanks and stuff coming in turn 2, turn 3, whenever they're coming in, you know, and Devastators, drop pods coming in and stuff. Like it's much harder now, I guess. So I'm just that's just what Arcs of Omen season is going to be. Greetings, Island Phoenix. Good evening. Burgosaurus, Roboto is looking good. He's getting there, except I just dropped him and snapped his sword. But I'm thinking I might actually make his sword a bit shorter because it's kind of fucking stupid how long it is anyway. So I think I might just chop it like there. And just, oh shit, don't break him again. I might just put that much sword on him. So it's more like a sword. It's supposed to be a sword anyway, it's not supposed to be a spear, right? I'm just firing base coats on here with quite a big brush at the moment though, because getting all this metal around his legs and stuff is going to be a bit nightmarish, really, to be honest. Killer says I might retire my Death Company Dread for Brutalis. It does sound like the Brutalis' rules are going to be much better than the Death Company Dread. All I've heard about the meme is 50 Deathwing Terminators, but the bikes are pretty great. 50 Deathwing Terminators is going to be very slow though. Like I can't imagine that's going to be too serious a list. He's going to have nothing but Terminators. They're going to be waddling across the board, or he's doing that risky deep strike charge I just talked about. And like when I played Dark Angels in the tournament just recently, he had to make like 3 9-inch charges and he fails all of them, right? So it's like, if you're going to run 50 Deathwing Terminators, you're going to need to be prepared that you're going to fail a bunch of charges and you're not going to make any combats in turn 2 or something. You're going to leave guys in the open. Like, that will happen. It might not happen every game, it might not happen when you play them, but I imagine that it'll happen enough where like that list won't win a... I don't think 50 Deathwing Terminators will win a tournament. It might be hard to play against, but I think there's too many... I just don't think it could win an event. Maybe a bit of a gatekeeper list if you can't deal with those Terminators. Like you don't have enough AP to punch through all their armor and their wounds, then it might gatekeep your list, but like I don't think it's strong enough to win an event. Deep striking properly, it's always been about the plus 2 inches and rerolls. Yeah, I mean, I never really bought into that, I guess. Like I said, like if I can prefer to not start stuff on Deep Strike, it's better, I think. Especially for Blood Angels, like, you know, when we used to have strats and stuff that could boost the charge, then it was fine to rely on Deep Strike. You know, if you had a 3d6 charge, I feel like you can rely on Deep Strike fairly well. If you don't, though, I probably wouldn't. Speaking of gatekeeper armies, what other armies are good to keep in mind? And what you mean in general? Like, what armies are gatekeeper for Blood Angels, or just in general, like at events and stuff? I mean, the armies that I have the most problems with are probably like, well, I was having a lot of problems with Tyranids and Harlequins, but I haven't really played them since they both got hit with the nerf. Like, I guess not many people kept running them after that. Like, I'm not sure I think I've been to one tournament since they got, like, Harlequins and Tyranids got, like, points increases, right? And I think I've been to one event since they got the points increases, and I didn't play those armies anymore. So I don't know if people just went like, oh, my army's been nerfed, I'm not running it anymore. But I mean, they were very difficult to deal with before. Knights are down the gatekeeper list. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have enough to bring down the knights consistently, like, you almost need to be killing like 3 knights a turn. If you can't do that, then they're gatekeeper for sure. And that's the other thing about playing against knights, is sometimes you end up like leaving a bunch of knights on like 1 or 2 wounds, and that can actually just instantly almost lose you the game, because a 1 wound knight still counts as 5 obsec models, which is kind of dumb. I almost think that the number of models they count for obsec should in some way be like, you know, like in it could almost be on like their profile, so it's like on full wounds they count as 5 for obsec, on middle bracket they count for 3 as obsec, and on bottle bracket they maybe just count for 1 and 2, and they're still obsec or something, like, because it's a bit silly that like a 1 wound knight can like advance onto your objective or something and just be like, hi, I count as 5 in obsec, so this objective's mine. Sorry, I've got 1 wound left. Even with 1 wound I can still move like 17 inches, because there's a strat for knights where it's called like full tilt. They can move like 9 inches, so even on lowest bracket, which means I think they move, because I think knights they move 12 normally, and then they move 10 and 8, right? So they can still move 17 inches with a 1 wound knight, and it counts as 5 obsec. I mean, if a good knight player using that right can be an absolute nightmare to deal with, right? Did you see Sam P is using the Whirlwind now? Well, this weekend certainly. I didn't, but I mean, the Whirlwind has been a good unit for Blood Angels for a long time. It's a bit of a CP heavy unit, right? Like, you're gonna want CP to use it effectively, but yeah, I mean, if you've got CP to spend or use, then the Whirlwind is definitely a good unit for Blood Angels. I mean, I think this might be the first time in years, Highland, where I'm going to an event without a Whirlwind, and it also is like it was a very reluctant drop, if that makes sense. Like, I almost dropped it just to test out how the Ball Predators would do, but the Ball Predators did so well that I'm like, I don't know what to do now. Like, do I bring the Whirlwind back? I think by including Gilliman, I just don't really realistically have the points to include a Whirlwind as well. It might come back and bite me at the tournament, of course it might, but I mean, like, we talk about that a lot on the channel, that, like, you know, sometimes when you go to an event, you just kind of have to roll the dice and be like, well, I hope I don't meet a matchup that's really bad for me, and if I do, you know, that can happen and the game can be lost just because it's a terrible matchup. Can't do much about it, right? I've used Ball Predators in my last 2 games. I'm really tempted to just run them to this tournament. Oh look, the other side of the sword just broke off. How brilliant. Alright, well, I guess it's gonna be easier to paint when it's not in his hand. God damn it. God, I hate working with resin models. I did look at my painting handle for this guy actually, but it's not big enough. But yeah, you can see that this one was pinned. I guess it'll just need repinned. I mean, maybe I could put a slightly longer pin in it this time. Oh well, we're gonna replace this sword. We're gonna do something there, because does your list have any way to get fight last? No. But I mean, didn't Jack just win LVO with no way to fight last? So I mean, he just rolled the dice on, right? He just rolled the dice on fight. Hopefully, I've got no way of fighting last, but let's just roll that dice, right? Like, you can't bring everything to a tournament, right? I mean, I've been playing with enough fight last and Overwatch denial for long enough. Like if I know I've got no Overwatch, I'm always charging with no Overwatch denial. I'm always going to use some crappy unit to charge first. Like I'll sacrifice a character or something to get like, especially when Iron Hands are overwatching. But I can't imagine I'm going to see that many Iron Hands lists at the next event. Maybe like 1 or 2 people will have gone full meta into Iron Hands, but then like I might not even fight them, right? And I guess that's the thing I guess that's maybe the thing that you just like, yeah, you're going to the tournament, you can't have a list that's going to beat everybody. And I think maybe sometimes I forget that, or maybe that's why because I've definitely been in matches where the Whirlwind has been great, but I've also been in matches where the Whirlwind has done nothing, right? So I think it goes both ways. That's like a Dante axe break. Yeah, I know, man. I've had to pin Dante's axe so many times over the years. It'll be so nice to get a new Dante where we don't need to maybe pin the axe. We'll see. Jack's experience, LVO being one thing, yours may vary. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like them anywhere near the same player as Jack, but I'm also saying that the level of players at my event is not going to be anywhere near the level of players at LVO, and I mean, I guess it depends. I think Last is good, don't get me wrong. Denial Overwatch is good. I mean, it's the Whirlwind hasn't left my army list in like probably like. No, I mean, I don't know if the Whirlwind's really left my army list in the whole of 9th edition. Like, it hasn't, like, how many seasons have we had in 9th? Like, 4 or 5 seasons? I mean, the Whirlwind's been a staple in every list across every season. It's only now that, like, at the end of the season where I've been saying, like, try stuff out, because it's a very... I don't know if I even want to call this, like, a real season, man, because the rules just now are just crazy, right? The strategic reserve rules... I think until the strategic reserve rules get changed, tournaments are going to be a little bit of a joke, because there's just going to be like melee armies just have a huge advantage, right? Sorry, shooting armies just have a huge advantage right now if used right with those new strategic reserve rules. And there's not too much we can do about it. It's just the way that this season is. There's so many little crevices in this model because like everything has been converted that I'm just seeing all the paint that's missing in the underside of armor panel. I broke the sword on my Incarn and the lance tip on my Shining Spear recently, just re-glued them and see how well they do. Well, I've got green stuff as well, man, so the spear is a bit of a nightmare to transport it anyway, so I'm gonna cut the spear there, I'll repin it, and then I'll try and fill it with green stuff or something. That's my plan now. Good evening, Caleb, how is it? Is Andrew not going to take the special character Tech Marine in his iron hands to give his infantry? I guess he's trying to keep it cheap. I don't know why he wouldn't. Ferris, I think Ferris is a good character. I did think about the Judiciar, Rizio. I did think that we could put the Judiciar in the transport with the Blade Guard rather than the Apothecary, but like there's a lot of times I would say in the last, because obviously we've been running a Sangre Priest, or I've been running the Sangre Priest now for, I don't know, probably like a year, because about a year, maybe a little bit longer ago, I was using the Tech Marine, right, when I was running like the double dread list. So I've been using the Sangre Priest for about a year, and I generally always sort of think that even though you don't have Selfless Healer and stuff, there's a lot of options a Priest gives you. You know, one of which is obviously the 1 CP revives. Sometimes those 1 CP revives can be used really tactically to like get shorter charge distances. The Feel No Pain I think isn't bad as well, but I think the main thing is probably the charge distances, right? Like as you get deeper into the game, with Blood Angels anyway, like if Maker failing your charges is going to win you or lose you games, right? Like, and you only get 1 charge reroll a turn, and like there's definitely been turns in tournaments where I want to make 5 charges, and they're not all short charges, right? Some of them might be like 7-8 inches. So you try and make that many charges, you're going to fail some of them. And sometimes, even though I don't have Selfless Healer, just using the Priest to be like, right, I'm going to resurrect a model with Incoherency and put him forward to change. I had a charge against the Votan, right? And the Votan were in difficult terrain, and the Blade Guard were just off the difficult terrain. So I think it would have been like a 5 or a 7 inch, maybe. And then it would have been like, I think it was going to be like a 7 -2, right? Because the Blade Guard were off the difficult terrain, and Blade Guard don't fly, so they can't ignore difficult terrain for charging. So I think I had like basically like this 9-inch charge to make with Blade Guard that were on the table. And I had other charges to make all over the place, because I think that turn actually kind of won me the game. But like I just resurrected a model like and basically made that 9-inch charge into like a 6-inch charge, and then you get your +1 for Blood Angels, so all of a sudden you take like a charge that's pretty low probability, and for 1 CP with the Priest and the Resurrection, you just suddenly make it like a really high probability charge. So I don't know. I mean, I guess you could argue that like the Judiciar would be better in some situations. I guess the Priest is better in some situations. The Priest's also good if they've got mortals. If you've got units jumping out of transports, sometimes you'll lose a model coming out of the transports. My current list as well, you got to remember, starts with 9 CP or something because of Gilliman being in the list. So it's not a hardship really to spend a CP to resurrect somebody, right? So that's kind of where I am with using the Priest over the Judiciar. But I do think, like, if you prefer the Judiciar, and you think, you know, like, you could obviously run a list similar to mine, or if you're running Blade Guard Veterans and an Impulsor and you think a Judiciar is better than the Priest, then, I mean, like, I think both are strong, both are situational. So it's really up to you, right? But I think I'm going to roll the dice on I'm not taking any fight last. The thing is, if we take a single fight last, right? Because I've done this before. I've done it into Eldar, right? Like, I've taken fight last on the Whirlwind, and then you fight Eldar, and they've got 3 fight lasts anyway, and all their fight lasts are kind of more flexible than ours, because, like, one's a psychic power, so, one's, like, if they charge you, and one's, like, aura / relic, maybe? Maybe it's a relic or an aura or whatnot. It's, like, you wouldn't even know where to use the fight last on the Whirlwind. Like, or even a Judiciar, right? Like, or you fight against Custodes and their whole army fights first. So it's like, yeah, it makes it tougher, but I guess there's no real right or wrong answer there. Like, fight last is good, the Whirlwind is good, the Judiciar is good. I'm gonna run them. Am I gonna run them to the next event? I guess not. Can't fit everything in. I almost never make a list without a priest. Yeah, me too. So this is a wacky list. So this list has no priest, no fight last, and it's got 2 Baal Predators. But it has already beaten Iron Hands, and it has already beaten Demons of Chaos. So let's see. I think if it wins a few more games, because I'm going to play it a few more times. If it wins a few more games, then fuck it, I'm going to run it. It's a strange season. Everyone's going to be running strange shit. Is the Librarian with Jump Pack going to be big? I think he is. I think he's key if you're running... if you want to run a lot of Sangre Guard and Death Company, I think that Librarian with the Jump Pack with a 5-up Psychic Fortress is probably going to be super key. Because if you're playing against Iron Hands, you're pretty much saying, right, like, your Sangre Guard and Death Company will never get to roll an armor save for the entire game. So if you've committed hard into those units, and then at the start of the game you know you're playing Iron Hands, you're not getting a save, right? Their multi-melters are -5, their grav cannons I think are -4. It's just like, yeah, so I mean, what, Sangre Guard will get a save on a 6? Death Company will just not get a save. Their las cannons are -4. Their Eradicators are -4. You know, it's the Eradicators, sorry, are -5 as well. It's kind of nightmarish. Yeah, it's very nightmarish, Iron Hands. It's almost like there's no skill to Iron Hands at the moment either. They honestly just need to turn up and point their guns at you, and they just do so much damage. What color are you going to do G-Man's cape? I was about to do Rhinox hide on it, because I think that's like a pretty dark brown, and I could do some light brown highlights, and I could do some blacks through it. But like, if you've got a better idea, I'm all for it. Tell me your better idea and I'll probably do it, because I hadn't really figured out what color his cape was going to be. Just, if I make it black, I'm not really sure how I'll, because I'm not the best painter. So if I make it black, I'm not really sure how I'll make it stand out, or how I'll highlight it, Marcus. For the Sangre Beast, how would we keep the cool healer backpack and have a jump pack? We can't. If you're making one with a jump pack, you kind of have to sacrifice the cool healer jump pack. I mean, in some ways that means that you can then make a healer for another model with that backpack. But yeah, you know, the jump pack definitely replaces the Sangre Priest's normal, like, apothecary style backpack, I guess. I put wings. I like put a set of Sangre Guard wings on the on my Sangre Priest, and that's pretty cool. So if you've got a spare set of Sangre Guard wings, you could do something like that as well. Is the Teeth of Terror good on the Sangre Priest? Yes. There's 2 ways to build a Sangre Priest. One is you put Teeth of Terror on him, because he kills nothing if he doesn't have the Teeth of Terror, and the Teeth of Terror gives him like a good amount of attacks and a good amount of 2 damage attacks, right? Or you build him with like some sort of Armor Indomitus, because the thing is, the second they target that priest, he's dying, right? Like, if you don't give him Armor Indomitus, and he's just in power armor, and he's on like 4 wounds with 4 health. He's dying the second they target him. You think you'll say to yourself, well, I'll hide my priest behind walls or stuff like that, but like they know that the priest's giving out the aura, they're going to want to kill him, so they'll try and target him and take him out. So the 2 ways of building him is you build him as a combat character with this Teeth of Terror, which I've never actually done myself, but I think it's genuinely good, or you build him with Armor Indomitus. Well, I say there's 2 ways to build him, or you just run him naked and just expect him to die the second they get on him. I've run him naked a few times, and yeah, the second they get on him, he's just dead. So, that's it. That's how you run the priest, I guess. But yeah, I think Teeth of Terror is not a bad choice on him. If you can survive to turn 3 and then get into combat, you'd have about 8 attacks with the Teeth of Terror, hitting on 2s, probably wounding enemy infantry on 2s. So you can probably kill like a whole squad of Marines in 1 round of combat. Or at least kill 3 or 4 of them, I would think. Wings on the Sanguinary Priest is fitting. Paint the cape something like Dark Reaper, then shade it with Nuln Oil. That would be a good idea. I have Dark Reaper because I think I use that for edge highlighting on my Death Company models. That's the best idea I've heard yet. I think I prefer that res to my idea of the Rhinox hide. I don't actually know if I've got a million paints out on my desk right now, but I don't know if I've got Dark Reaper here. Remind me, Dark Reaper is it's like a dark blue, right? Have you seen the new Flesh Tears novel? I'm listening to it now. No, but I did sign up to Audible recently, sellers, because they gave me 4 months for the price of like 2 or something. So I signed up. I didn't buy any books. I just signed up because every time they do that, I feel like it's always worth signing up. Because like audiobooks for, I think it's like, I think it works out as $3.99 per book. Like audiobooks for $3.99 per book to me just seems like a bargain. So is the Flesh Tears story good? What's it called? Are we still talking about Vanguard bits? Sorry, I'm not talking about Vanguard bits. What's your Vanguard question? You know what? I've got a ton of Vanguard vets with Storm Shields, and have said Storm Shields are very good for this edition. I keep wanting to call it this edition. I guess it's this season. I don't know how I feel about, like, I don't know when I'm running my Vanguard vets. I think you could obviously run, what I could do, I suppose, is I could run like 3 Death I'm running 2 Death Company and 1 Sandguard, right? So I could continue to run that. Then I could run like 3 squads of Van Vets with Storm Shields. I just don't have enough Van Vets to do that. I think I've got like 20 of them with Storm Shields, but I definitely don't have them all magnetized. And they're definitely not all finished painting, so I couldn't do that. But I guess that would be similar sort of as what I've got now, where I'm running like some Terminators and some Blade Guard veterans. It might actually end up being cheaper. You could run three squads of Van Vets, 2 squads of Death Company, 1 squad of Sandguard, and then maybe like 3 Baal Predators. I mean, I could get on board for trying that. Like I said, it's a crazy season with crazy lists. The book is called Wrath of the Lost, and so far it's excellent. I've really enjoyed it. How many chapters are you in? Or you said you were listening to it, didn't you? Did you buy it in paperback, or are you just listening to it? I finished the Astrath book a few weeks ago. I've been meaning to do some sort of review over it, because I genuinely really enjoyed the Astaroth book, but man, all the ideas I have for new videos get messed up by the fact that I have a full-time job. So if I ever don't have to do my full-time job, I put out like twice as many YouTube videos, honestly. Need someone to donate me $1 million. I'd say probably need more than that to quit my job, actually, but whatever. Kids are expensive, man. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna run. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna run 2 Ball Predators and the 2 squads of Terminators to this next event. And if it doesn't go well, then I guess you guys can say you told me so. But I think it'll be fun. I mean, it's like I said, it's a season where you need to try shit out. Don't take anything too seriously. And if there's models, the way I'm looking at it is there's models that I haven't painted forever, like my Ball Predators and stuff. So this season I'm just gonna be like, I'm just going to paint my Ball Predators. I'm probably just going to paint this other squad of Terminators. I did a squad of Terminators recently, and I actually really enjoyed how they turned out, like Firstborn Terminators, with basically the same loadout, like 3 Thunder Hammers, 3 Lightning Claws. So it would be nice to have all 10 of them done, I guess. So that's my plan. Like I'm just gonna paint what I enjoy painting this season, not take things too seriously. And I mean, I don't feel like I know. Yeah, I feel like I don't even know the meta well enough, honestly. Like in the sort of post Armor of Contempt world, I'm just not sure that. I think it's the reserves that are throwing me off. Like the reserves kind of unbalance the game. Paul says I'd like to drop my full-time job too. Yeah, I mean that's the dream, right? It's never gonna happen, so. I'm just finishing off Brutal Cunning and looking at either Astaroth or Sanguinius next. Well, Astaroth is a good book. It's not actually that long. It was only like maybe 220 pages or something. Like it's not hugely long. So, but I enjoyed it. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as like Darkness in the Blood or Devastation of Baal or Dante, but I mean, it definitely gave me like a bit of a new perspective that I'd not seen on Astaroth before, which was cool. I like diving into characters that like I've played a lot and then seeing like another side of them or getting, because like yeah, you know what, I'll do a video where I talk about it because I don't want to spoiler it for everybody that's not read it in the chat, because I'm sure someone will watch this and I don't want to do any spoilers. Yeah, I don't. Honestly, dude, I have 2 kids and I don't understand people that have more than 2 kids. Because 2 kids, like today, one of our kids was just like in tantrum mode for the entire day. Like it's just like everything. You know that line in Star Wars where like everything you just said was wrong? It's like that, right? Everything we did today was wrong, you know? So we try and do nice things, but no, just everything was wrong. So yeah, I 2 kids is plenty for me. I'm never going to have more than 2 kids, 100%. Is the Dread meant to be a souped up librarian Dread? That's how he started life, and now he's going to be a Rebooty Gilliman. I obviously have I have the actual Firstborn Librarian Dreadnought model, I guess. But this is going to be my proxy at the tournament that I'm going to in like 3 weeks' time, and he's going to be proxy for Rebooty Gilliman. I'm probably going to be running these Terminators as well, so while I had some random paint on the palette, I'm just going to quickly slap it on the Terminators. I mean, I'm only doing base coats, this is just rough as crap, but it's better than just like bare minimum 3 colour sort of nonsense at the tournament. I recommend the Rathbun Omnibus. I've never read that one, actually. I did buy the other Blood Angels Omnibus, the more recent one, but I haven't bought the new one. Is the Sons of Sanguinius Omnibus worth buying? That's the one I did buy, Nathan. I haven't started it, though. Will the tournament let you proxy that? Yes, because he's about an inch taller than Guilliman. He's on the same size base. So I already checked with the TO and he said that was fine. If he'd been, like, smaller, I guess it might have been a problem. Let me find this Dark Reaper. I'm sure I've got it. Dude, I have 100 paints behind me, and it's the first one I picked up was Caliban Green. The second one we picked up was Dark Reaper. I couldn't have done that again if I tried. Bloody hell! Should put on a lottery ticket right now. I was literally like a what 1 in 100 chance to pick up Dark Reaper first, and then multiply that by 1 in 100 again. So what would that be? 1 in 10,000 chance to just pick up the 2 paints out of a box. I've not been in that box in like 18 months, a year or something. Maybe longer. Oh, this paint needs shook. I don't know the last time I used Caliban Green. I probably used it on my Star Wars Legion models, actually. Michael says, I'm thinking of trying a repulsor with 5 Blade Guard veterans, the Ancient Apothecary Judasar. I mean, my issue with running the repulsor is its lack of invuln, I guess. That's why I think a repulsor could be quite good for, like, Black Templars, but I think it's a little risky for Blood Angels. But I mean, I've never painted a Dark Angel in my life, by the way. So, I guess I'm just going to start by coating this whole guy in Caliban Green. And then I'll probably need multiple coats, because this paint has not been used in years and it seems very inconsistent, I would say. I could have shaken it more. It's hard for me to shake paints right now. My broken arm still hurts when I'm shaking paints. It's fine, I tend to always do 2 or 3 thin coats of this stuff anyway, on everything. That's why I'm so damn slow at painting. Everything gets like 3 coats. Who do you got tomorrow in the Super Bowl final? Do you know, did I tell you about my bets for the Super Bowl? I mean, I'm a Giants fan, first and foremost. I've been a Giants fan since like 2011, I think it was the year that Eli won the Super Bowl, like 17-14. Or maybe it was before that. But I mean, that's literally the only NFL game I've ever been to in my life, was when I went to see the Giants in MetLife Stadium. So I don't know. I might put on my bet. Like I might put $20 on the Super Bowl. We'll see. But if we're gonna risk $20, it has to be for high odds, right? Like I need 50 to 1 odds. Like I gotta bet on something crazy. But honestly, I don't know too much about the other teams. The only NFL I've watched this season has been like the Giant highlights. It's been tough being a Giants fan, right? Because Giants have sucked for about 10 years. Almost since I started, almost since like I went to see them live for the first time. They've been terrible ever since. Because like when I came back after having seen them live, I bought like that NFL Game Pass, which lets you watch all the games for like a single team. So I like bought it for the Giants, and like I did that for a few seasons, and every season it was just like, okay, Giants suck. So I stopped buying Game Pass like 3 or 4 years, maybe even more, maybe let's say 5 years ago. I haven't bought Game Pass. Bet on the colour of Gatorade being poured in the winning coach. That sounds cool. What's the odds on that? And how many different colours are there? I forgot. I mean, they got some crazy bids on the Super Bowl, don't they? I kind of knew it was this weekend, but I'd kind of forgotten, so thanks for messaging. I'll probably check out some of it tomorrow night after the Army show. I might watch till like halftime. Who's doing halftime this year? I know that you can bet, like, the year that Katy Perry did it, for example, halftime. Like, it was so fucking obvious what song that she was going to sing first, wasn't it? Like, I didn't realise until afterwards, because you could bet on the, you could bet on, like, the first song that the halftime performer does. And with Katy Perry, it was like that song, oh, I'm not a Katy Perry fan, but it was so fucking obvious. It was the one where she was like, she was riding a tiger or something. It's like the lyrics are something like "I'm a warrior" or "I'm a tiger" or "I'm the champion" or something. I don't know the song's name. Someone will know it, right? But it was so fucking obvious afterwards. I was like, oh my god. Not that I know Katy Perry, but I knew that song because it was in the charts for ages. Like, everybody's heard that song, and I was like, oh, that was so obvious. I could have totally bet on what song Katy Perry was going to sing first. But alas, I did not. Maybe if I'd been more of a Katy Perry fan, I could have won some money that year. And then there was the year where Slash appeared with Black Eyed Peas, wasn't there, on a bit? I mean, I guess nobody probably thought that was going to happen. But yeah, so it's Eagles or Chiefs. I mean, the Eagles knocked out the Giants and they're in their division. So, I mean, maybe I have to say Eagles. Or maybe I have to say Chiefs because there'll be more rivalry there. I don't know. Thing is, like, I don't know their Giants rivalries. Do Giants fans usually hate the Eagles? Is that how that works? Someone... Speaking of the year, the only game I've seen was the Giant live. We actually played the Eagles. We beat them like 35-7, and it was winter, and the MetLife Stadium was like Baltic. And when I got back on the bus after the game, I could barely even feel my feet. I think my feet were actually numb. I had to sit on the bus for like 20 minutes, the bus back to like New York City, before I could feel my feet again. We hate the Eagles? Alright, then I guess then go Chiefs, I guess. Are Chiefs going to win? Who do you guys think are going to win? I mean, you're asking me, but you guys are probably more knowledgeable about football than I am, so who's going to win? Who is actually going to win? I mean, the Eagles destroyed the Giants in the playoff. It wasn't even close. Giants and Eagles are the Space Wolves. Dark Angels, okay. Alright, we'll come back to him for another coat of green once it's dried. I think the idea here is that this guy's supposed to be a traitor. He's a Dark Angel, but he's also a traitor. And then we'll put some Dark Reaper on this cape, I think is the next plan. This base is super awkward. I guess I chipped it when I dropped it on the floor. Damn it. Yeah, is he a Dark Angel? I mean, I guess that's the whole question, right? Dark Reaper. It looks kind of like yeah, okay, this is cool. This is what I was looking for, I think, Rezion, and that this is like a black. It's like an off black, so I can do other than buying plastic from my local store. How do I support them? I mean, I occasionally go to tournaments at my local store, and you asking me or you asking chat in general? I buy all my spray paint from my local store, which is a lot. I feel like I'm always spraying stuff, I'm always varnishing stuff. And I bought stuff from other games for a local store, right? Like I have a big collection of Star Wars miniatures, which is funny because I never work on any of the Star Wars miniatures I have. I love Star Wars, and I never work on any of the miniatures. I have loads of them, but I don't work on any of them ever, and I guess that is because of the Bloody Shows Commander channel. At one point, I used to work on my Star Wars miniatures. Which Dreadnought should I build for Blood Angels? A Leviathan, a ranged Leviathan, or an Ironclad? I'd go with one of the melee options. We don't see too many Ironclads, but I think they're actually quite good. I like an Ironclad Dreadnought. Alright, I've just commissioned one for myself, actually. It should be coming in the next week or so. But I think rules-wise, the Ironclad is pretty interesting, especially now where it's free to get it into Strategic Reserve in terms of CP, right? Because one of the problems you have with those chicken Dreadnoughts is like their 6-inch move, just like moving them up the table is... The enemy are going to get to open fire on them for like a couple of turns before they get across the table, right? And that's kind of why maybe we don't see too many chicken Dreadnoughts at the moment, because like with no invulnerable save and not great amount of wounds and 6-inch move, they're going to be kind of getting killed. I liked, do you guys remember, like, I think it was last edition when the Death Company Dreadnought had the ability to get +2 to its charge against enemy vehicles with the Magna Grapple? I liked that because what I used to do would be like reserve my Death Company Dreadnought, so when he comes in from reserve you're getting +3 to his charge because he had the Magna Grapple, and you would have to target a vehicle to get the +3. But like you knew that, so you would always just be like, right, what vehicle has he got near the edge of the board that I can get 9 inches away from with a strategic reserve, and then I'll just go for my 9-inch charge with +3, so I actually just need a 6. And the Death Company Dreadnought, it's pretty good when it makes its charge, right? Because it was like, I think it had 8 attacks, and they're all 3 damage. It doesn't have the greatest AP, but it's not bad. What's up, Inks? Good evening. Emperor's Children ignoring smoke screen makes my dreads lives hard. I mean, anything that can ignore smoke screen, or I mean, that's the other problem with the Redemptor Dreadnoughts. They don't even get smoke screen. I don't really know why Redemptor Dreadnoughts didn't get smoke screen. It feels like an oversight. Did I say hello, Inks? How are you doing? Good evening. I am painting Robuto Gilliman, and I managed to drop him and break his sword off. So I'm gonna have to do some. Work on that, annoyingly. But I did finally figure out a colour for his cape. So thanks for that, Rezio, because I had no idea. I sort of knew what I wanted to do with the cape. I wanted it to be something off black so that I can work in some deeper blacks and some lighter highlights throughout the cape. So this is going to need 2 coats for sure. But I think it's going to give me like it's going to give me a great base to work with. I think. I feel like I'm very pleased with. I mean, like over the red right now. It's maybe looking a little bit bluer than it will, but I think on the second coat it'll be like a really nice dark blue, and I can definitely work with this towards what I wanted to achieve, I guess. Sort of hate when you have to paint through the model like this to get to pieces though. It's a nightmare, isn't it? And the grapple made sense, yeah. The grapple, I mean, I guess the grapple's free now, Highland Phoenix, but I still don't really think there's a reason to take it, right? I mean, maybe ever so slightly? Is there a reason to take it? The only dreads you have are the Death Company and the Ironclad. Oh man, I get so many. Obviously I got Leviathan Dreadnought. I have 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts. I get 2 Relic Contemptor Dreadnoughts. I get this guy if you count him as a Dreadnought. I have the Librarian Dreadnought, a Death Company Dreadnought, and then like maybe 2 or 3 Chicken Dreadnoughts. So I probably have like 11 Dreadnoughts. I have more Dreadnoughts probably than I have tanks. But Dreadnoughts to me have almost felt more Blood Angels than tanks, right? Because like Dreadnoughts have really, well, generally have really good melee capacity, or capability rather. Blood Angels are a bit more about melee than they are about tanks, maybe? Would that be fair to say? How many points is the Warlord Titan? Last time I checked, like 4,500. They're for people that are like obsessed with the hobby. I mean, there's no real reason to buy one, right? Like, you can never field it in a game. It's more like a vanity project, I guess. I don't know why you would buy a Warlord Titan. Like, if I had enough money to buy a Warlord Titan, then I would just buy like £1,000 worth of usable models for my army and have a lot more variation or options for my army, right? Anyone in the chat got a Warlord Titan? You get a cool... I mean, I think you're right. I think you get a certificate saying that you bought one. Don't you get a certificate if you bought a Thunderhawk gunship as well, though? Am I wrong in that? Tabletop Titans just gave your channel a shout out. Did they? That's super nice. I don't know. I mean, I've never spoke to anyone on Tabletop Titans. Hey dude, send me the video so I can say thank you. Or send me like a timestamp and what video it is. And I'll say thank you, because it's like a dream of mine for other YouTubers to, I was gonna say, how do I put this? Like, be acknowledged by other YouTube channels, or be acknowledged by the big people. I'm not necessarily trying to compete with those big channels. I think some of them are like leagues and miles ahead of me, and especially like Tabletop Titans, they do like the production values on their streams, like they're a million times better than anything that I've ever done, and they probably will always be. I do try and improve my production value, don't get me wrong, and like I do You know, like I bought that green screen that I use behind me a lot on my weekly videos now. What did they say? What did they say, Steve? But yeah, it's super cool if I hear other channels either have enjoyed the videos that I've made and or think I'm an okay like, I'm not worried about my painting skills. They're average. I'm worried about being seen as a decent player, I think. Tom, thanks so much for the $4.99. You're more than welcome for the content. I was gonna say, if you ever plan on donating again, you know, for $4.99 you can become a member for a month. And if you become a member, you get access to our members only room in Discord. I should probably lead with that more often. I don't really go out asking for money too much on my streams and stuff, so but yeah, we do have a members only room, and it is in the Discord for, I think the cheapest membership is $4.99 a month, so I do really appreciate the $4.99, don't get me wrong, but if you ever think about doing it again, at least that way you get some perks. Yeah, I think the blue will suit this guy. I'll be able to do something cool with this cape, for sure. I'm going to leave it now, because it's going to dry, and then we'll maybe get another coat on there. Maybe I'll do a little bit of work on this spear. If you are making the ironclad, I reckon you should put 2 melee weapons on it, because I think you should do the Dreadnought Chain Fist and the Dreadnought Combi weapon. I think that's the best way of running it, because you get to reroll 1s. So I think you would be able to hit on the Chain Fist on 3s, you get to reroll your 1s, and I believe the Chain Fist is 2d3 damage, so you get some serious amount of damage. Tabletop Titans was talking to you about you liking the Ball Predator. Hey! Somebody likes the Ball Predator again. Technically the blue calls back to Librarian Dreadnoughts. Yeah, I mean, I guess the blue calls back to him being Gilliman as well, and why would he not have a blue cape in that he's an Ultramarine, right? That's cool. I mean, I started running the Ball Predators as a bit of a joke. I thought to myself, like, you know, they've been crap for so long, I just want to run them because why not? They're only 110 points. I think I can make them work at 110 points. And my list was so starved for points that like, normally my go-to for shooting, like if like my normal go-to for fire support, at least over the last like 18 months or 2 years, or maybe the whole of 9th edition, maybe even a bit of 8th edition, my go-to fire support was Contemptor Dreadnoughts or Redemptor Dreadnoughts, right? Both of them have done work for me as Blood Angel. Both of them have been featured like in the 2 tournaments that I've got. So the 2 tournaments that I did well in the last sort of year, I got a 1st place and a 3rd place, and both those lists had Dreadnoughts in them. I think, oh, do you know what, maybe the 3rd place one didn't actually, but I had another event where I did really well, and basically, like, I had a game where if I'd won the game, I won the event, and that list had, so both of those things had Dreadnoughts in the lists. So they've been like my go-to fire support now for like I'd say the best part of like 2 years. And I barely ever run tanks. Like, I run the Whirlwind, but I don't run any other tanks of any variety in that whole time. If I needed fire support, I'd either look at them, and I'd also maybe look at armigers, because I did run armigers to GT as well. Do you know what? I did run a super heavy tank to GT as well, which was kind of fun. So I ran an Astraeus. When I ran the Astraeus, I was honestly clutching at straws, though, because I was just like, I don't know what's good for Blood Angels. I'm gonna run an Astraeus. I didn't hate the Stratus. The Stratus has some good matchups. It also has some really bad matchups, I feel like. But yeah, Ball Predators at 110 points. They're not bad, I think. I don't think they're great, but Blood Angels do need some like clear, and we do. I think I prefer them to the Reaper. Highland Phoenix is always on about a Reaper. I get the Reaper's more survivable, more wounds, maybe slightly more shots / more damage, but also it's more points. So like if you're just looking for something that's cheap and cheerful, then that's what the Ball Predator is at the moment. I've had 3 of them. I mean, part of me's tempted to buy a 3rd one just to sort of like be like, this will be the one season I'm allowed to run, or not allowed to run, but it'll be like the one season I can run Ball Predators and they're not totally crap. Because they finally realized that the War Gear option on the Ball, like, because it used to be like you were paying like 30 or 40 points for the heavy bolters, and you were paying like points for the assault cannons and the storm bolters. It was just ridiculous. It's like the one season that it's maybe viable or something. I just like super heavies on super small boards. I mean, that's true, but the Stratus does fly as well. So I mean, if you have an Stratus, you know, you don't have to worry about it too much because it flies. Flying tanks are also cool. What about regular Vindicators? I don't like them. Even if you took a Ball Predator, for example, right, and shot it against like, I don't know, a toughness 8, like a Gladiator tank, right? You would think, well, a Ball Predator is not going to do much damage against a Gladiator tank, right? Because the Gladiator tank's toughness 8, and none of the Ball Predator's weapons are going to wound on anything less than a 5. Like the heavy bolters will wound on 5s, the assault cannon will wound on 5s, the storm bolter will wound on 6s. So like, that's generally like a rubbish matchup for the Ball Predator, right? Because everything is going to wound on 5s or 6s. So I'd say that's like the worst matchup. If you actually do the math for like a Vindicator, the Ball Predator on average is going to do more damage into a Gladiator than a Vindicator, because the Vindicator is just so damn swingy, right? Because it's like D6 shots, D6 damage. So it'll swing from 1 to like 30. But statistically, because it's so swingy, it just means that like if you actually work out the averages, it's actually pretty poor. So I did do that because someone said to me the other day, they were like, what about Vindicator in reserve rather than Ball Predator? And I was like, well, I should check that. And I checked it and I was like, oh my god. So the Ball Predator, even though that's all crap, right? Like everything would only wound on 5s. They'll actually do more damage against like a Gladiator tank than a Vindicator, just because the Vindicator is going to be super swingy. I mean, the Vindicator could one-shot it, but I mean, like, realistically, how often does that happen? D6 shots, D6 damage, says Jacob. Yeah, which... I like the Vindicator Laser Destroyer, because that's D3 plus 3, right? And it's 3 shots. So I do like the Vindicator Laser Destroyer, I just hate the regular Vindicator, which is funny because I've got the regular Vindicator, I just don't have the Vindicator Laser Destroyer. But I'm getting one. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Triple Lancers is still my dream, says Cambo. I mean, Lancers for Black Templars, Cambo, looks really interesting, right? Because I only have one Gladiator, and it is the like, I've got mine magnetized, so it could be any of the 3, but the Lancer for Black Templar, you get a free multi-melt on it, and considering how cheap it is, and the fact that you would then get the Invulnerable Save and the Mortal Shrug and all that good stuff as well, like, I think Lancers for Black Templars are like, seem really interesting. I kind of hate marine armor at the moment with no invulnerable save though. Because like that's an obvious weakness for the Ball Predator, right? Like it's got no invuln. So if someone's target, like if Iron Hands target the Ball Predators, they're just dying. Like you don't even get to roll saving throws, which is pretty rough on expensive units. So that's why I like the Ball Predator, because it's 110, and you're like, yeah, I mean it's 110. If he has to shoot a bunch of multi-meltas into it to kill it, yeah, I'd rather you shooting those multi-meltas into a Ball Predator than, let's say, a squad of Death Company or Sandguard or something like that, that I feel like are a lot more valuable to me. And the Ball Predators do chip damage, and it's enough, I guess, that means that the enemy are not going to want to just them to sit there. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'll either go to this tournament and I'll win it, or I'll come back and be like, guys, I know nothing. And there's definitely a good chance I'll come back and be like, guys, I know nothing. Only because they can take a multi-melt. Well, yeah, the free multi-melt on all the Black Templars vehicles is cool, though. I mean, it's not just cool, I guess. I think it's also pretty strong. Any Warlord traits or relics that work well with a company champion? I mean, probably the sword that he has that gives him the strength +3 -3 damage is pretty cool. I mean, if you're going to run a company champion, you're probably going to want his Warlord trait that gives the rerolls within core, right? Because like I don't know how else. I feel like company champion's in a transport, like he's in a drop pod or he's in a Terrax, because you're not running him across the board at 6 inches at a time, or are you? I guess is the question. But if you're not doing that, then I think his Warlord trait that's like reroll all charges, and his sword that's like +3 damage, and the Blade of Triumph, and then pay the 15 points to upgrade him so he gets the extra attack. I think that's the way that you want to run that champion. Could be wrong, but I think if I was going to do it, that's the way I would do it. The Primaris company champion is sadly Legends. It made no... I don't understand that. They released it and instantly made it Legends. What's your thoughts on Eliminators to move block your opponent at 75 points? Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing that Eliminators can do is be roadblocks, really. Because I don't feel like they did a whole heap of damage during Armor of Contempt. What was good about them during Armor of Contempt was that they were surviving, right? Like, it was difficult for the enemy to drop them with the saving throws and stuff that they had. Now, Evening Chronos saying, it's only 10 points to upgrade him now, says Brick. Well, yeah, definitely pay the 10 points, Brick. Because I haven't been running that many upgrades, I keep forgetting that some of them were cheaper. I did that in my video this week, where I forgot that the Primaris Chaplain on the bike's like 15 points cheaper now. But yeah, it's just because I haven't been running them. And it might also be the fact that I still don't have the fucking Arcs of Omen book yet, which is really frustrating. We're going to be like 2 months into the season. I'm going to have to... So the season started like the 7th of January or something. I've got a tournament on the 4th of March, and I pre-ordered the book, and it seems like I'm not going to have it. So I don't know. I mean, that's very frustrating, I guess. So yeah, I guess I'm making some mistakes because I'm waiting for a copy of Arcs of Omen. I'm going to probably have to end up trying to find someone I can borrow their book from for the tournament, because some of those tournaments don't let you turn up if you don't have the book. I'm like, I fucking pre-ordered it the same as everybody else. I mean, I pre-ordered it in the morning. Like, I know what pre-order time is. It's like 10 AM in the UK, so I genuinely pre-ordered. If I didn't pre-order it at 10, it would have been within an hour, right? Like, I definitely pre-ordered it in that morning. I mean, I could probably go back through my email and check, but I would say I pre-ordered it within the first hour. Boltstorm or Flamer aggressors? I tend to think the Flamer ones are better because of the Overwatch potential. But I mean, the Bolt ones are cheap now, but you could go either way on Bolt. I've got all 6 of mine built with Boltstorm, and when Boltstorm were more expensive, it used to make sense because there used to be a strat where you could fire twice. So each Bolt Storm Aggressor got to shoot like 18 bolter shots a turn if you remained stationary, which was really cool. And that was a lot of that. Like that was a lot of fire. Like if you had a squad of like 5 aggressors, you're talking like 90 shots. And I always say like bolters aren't that great, but if you've got 90 of them, you're definitely killing some stuff, right? So I would have, like back then, I would have definitely said bolter aggressors were better. And then I think I thought to myself for a while, like if you're fighting up against Sisters of Battle and you're getting charged by like, what the hell are those things called? Repentia or, I guess if you're getting charged by anything that's toughness 3, right, Flamestorm aggressors will just light them up. They'll almost possibly kill the whole unit on the Overwatch. So that's why I kind of thought to myself, like, man, I think Flamestorm aggressors are maybe better here. But I guess some people like the bolter ones still. GW is having massive warehouse shipping issues in the UK. I bet that's why you don't have Abaddon. I did hear that there's some nonsense going on with shipping issues, so I guess I'm just waiting. There's not much we can do, is there? We just have to wait, I guess, if there's shipping issues. Sam ran Boltstorm this weekend. Cool. So, I mean, like I said, I think there's play in both of them. I just personally think that if it was me... But then the thing is, like, you gotta remember that, like, my perception of what is strong is based on what I play against. So I play against Andrew, who always runs those super fast Sisters of Battle list with loads of, like, disposable units in combat. So if I play against that a lot, then I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna think what to pick to counter that, right? So if I didn't play against Sisters a lot, then I might be like, yeah, Boltstorm are definitely good because they get all those extra shots. Do we still post lists on earliest community post? What do you mean? Baldermort. Yeah, I actually saw Baldermort was complaining that he didn't have the book on Twitter. I liked his tweet or whatever. Probably spending too much time right now on this scenic base, but fuck it. I mean, this guy's already going to be tournament legal now because there's about 8 different colours on him, so it's not going to be that much of a problem. I just like him to be a little bit more complete looking. Yeah, you just post your... But I mean, if you're posting a list today, you won't be on the show tomorrow because I've got about 20 lists in the queue. So, like, if you post a list now for the army show tomorrow, or for the army show on Sunday nights, you'll be on in like 2 or 3 weeks' time. It's actually surprised me how many people have posted lists. I suppose there's been a lot because. A few before the new season, everybody was just running that same list. So I guess it's refreshing that more and more people have like come up with new lists and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a reasonable sized backlog on list submissions now. But yeah, just post it on the community. That's where to go. Are Relic Contemptors with Twin Volkites still good? Yes and no. Right? They're good in terms of like if you want to run a weapons platform that can kill stuff at 45 inches away. And do mortals at 45 inches away and generally survive the entire game and don't get profiled when you lose wounds, then yes, they are good. the thing about Blood Angels is typically our units don't want to stay 45 inches away, right? Like, we want to get into melee combat because that's where we do our most damage. So when I was running Volkites recently, because I ran them at an event in January, I ran one with like one Volkite arm, a Cyclone missile launcher, and the drill. I think the chain fist. Yeah, it must have been a chain fist. You run it with. So I think you can. I think that's decent. But I mean, if you're fine keeping them away 45 inches and just shooting, and you think that's adding value to your army, then yeah, Volkite double Contemptor is not bad. Just doesn't super synergize with everything else Blood Angels do, but like sometimes, and I mean, I went to an event where I had two of those, and I'd say that like I used Wisdom of the Ancient on one of them a bunch of times to get me some rerolls, and like they did work every game. And in that event, I got all the way to the top table for the final game. I kind of bottled it on the final game, but I mean that happens. So I think they do work. I think they're totally playable, and yeah, I don't know if there's much else to say. Like, I just think they're generally not a bad pick, Twin Volkites. We just don't see it all that much because I think a lot of people have decided that isn't really the best way to synergize with the Blood Angels list, but it can synergize and it can be viable and it does do damage. So, how do you deal with 2 Dread Knights in a 1,000-point game against Grey Knights? I mean, the way to kill Dread Knights, and there's a few ways you can do it. You need 3 damage weapons, really. So you need like a Death Company with lots of Thunderhammers. Or possibly the other way you're killing them is if you've got like Null Zone or something to that extent. And I think, I mean, both are pretty useful tools if you... but I mean, like, you need sort of weight of fire to bring down the Dread Knights. So like you need a close combat unit with lots of attacks, or you're going to need like a lot of firepower because they've got 4-up invulnerable saves. So even if you have a lot of firepower, because Blood Angels typically don't bring that much firepower, I feel like it's going to be difficult to drop a Dread Knight. Like typically my Blood Angels army is not going to be able to drop a Dread Knight in the shooting phase ever. It's going to be the combat phase. There's going to be a case of, can I get my 5-man Death Company into combat with it, and I'll have like 4 Thunderhammers in that squad. That's how I'm dealing with it. Do you have a list for Blood Angels for boarding actions? Yeah, I made one just this week. It was over on their podcast channel. I guess if you haven't seen our podcast yet, you can Google it. It's on YouTube. It's called The 3 Grots. And we made a video this week where we went over. We actually did 2 Blood Angels boarding action lists. We do a podcast episode every Thursday. I was gonna say we typically don't miss that many Thursdays. Like we're pretty reliable. We just started the podcast like last year. We just actually got over 1,000 subscribers on it as well, so it's growing. But the podcast is a lot less serious than like. So I would say Blood Angels Commander is like pretty serious. Like I want to win tournaments. I want to do well. I want to talk about all the serious rules and stuff on how we win tournaments. The podcast is a bit of the opposite. It's more like, hey, we're just going to have fun and talk about what we like, and we have built some boarding action lists. We do, I suppose we do have the odd episode which is quite competitive, but we also have a lot of episodes where it's a bit more chilled. You're more than welcome, Nate. Thanks for dropping by. 10 Death Company with power swords and infernal pistols should easily be able to catch and kill Dread Knights. That's true as well. And I was running. Let me think about this for a second. I was running. I was running a 5-man Death Company with 5 infernal pistols and 5 power swords for like, they're like 115 points now. I think that's a decent option, right? If you want to run 3 Death Company, you could run 2 with hammers and you could run the 3rd with those infernal pistols / power swords. The issue I have running with it now was like, that was kind of based around that secondary, right? There was a secondary for Death Company, kill units with Death Company, and it was generally very powerful, and now it's gone. So now that it's gone, I'm like, well, I'm not running that 3rd Death Company anymore. Right after I just got finished converting all the models, go figure, that's always how that works, right? But regardless, I guess, like, if you don't have Death Company with hammers, Death Company with infernal pistols and power swords, they won't really do you wrong. Like, they're definitely a good unit that can do a lot of damage, and the points costs are kind of cheap for the amount of damage they can do. They're not survivable, I guess, right? But like, pretty much every marine in power armor without an invulnerable save right now, I would argue, is not survivable in the current meta. And maybe we'll see something that comes along and fixes that. I think if like we get another week where Blood Angels are as low as they were this week, where they're like 40% win rate, we might get something that makes this a bit better. I miss Fury of the Lost. I just got into Fury of the Lost when they removed it, actually. So I won 1 tournament with Fury of the Lost. So there's that, which was cool, I guess. And I made my own list as well. I didn't run like the all Sangreguard, all Death Company list, which was fine, I suppose. I mean, I like Sangreguard as much as the next person, but like, I think what was bothering me was like, this is the only competitive list we have access to right now, and it's been like, it's quite inhibiting to be like, there's one way to build Blood Angels and this is the way. It's like Mandalorian, it's like, this is the way, you can't build them any other way. You want to win an event, you have to run them this way. That can be a little bit I don't know what you call it, a little bit frustrating. Quite restrictive, I guess, or however you want to put it. I'm definitely going to try and find where Tabletop Titans mentioned me, so that's cool. I've watched those guys a bunch. I really enjoy their battle reports, actually. They're probably the guys that I've watched the most battle reports by on YouTube. Watched Tabletop Tactics a bit. I also watch the guy that works with like, I know about Winters, but I actually haven't watched as much of Winter's stuff as maybe other people do. I watched a lot of his, like, the guy that works with him, Liam. I've watched a fair bit of Liam's content. What's your guys' favourite battle report channels on YouTube? I mean, you can say Warhammer Plus as well if you like Warhammer Plus battle reports. I wasn't the hugest fan of the Warhammer Plus battle reports, honestly. Felt like their armies, for me, I would have liked their armies to be a little bit more competitive. But then, you know, it's weird because, like, I don't know what the competitive demographic breakdown is. Like, how many 40k players really care about competitive and how many people really just care about hobby stuff, you know? It's like, it's hard to know. They obviously, like, Warhammer obviously know, and they tailor the content they make on Warhammer Plus to suit, right? So if they think more people will watch more casual battle reports, then that's what they'll make. I mean, I guess the thing you know about the battle reports on the BAC channel is, like, they'll always include, like, really meta lists. Like, I'm genuinely playing against people that are just, like, the people I know are wanting to do well at tournaments, and as such are bringing lists that will do well at tournaments. Plastic Crackheads. Well, I missed the Plastic Crackheads. I have definitely watched a good number of their battle reports as well. Probably more, but that's just because, you know, they're my friends in real life. Whenever I get notification that they're live, I always try and tune in. Even if I'm busy with the kids and stuff, I try and tune in to, like, support them, I guess. Play on Tabletop. Do you know what? Play on Tabletop, I haven't watched too much of their stuff, but the stuff that I saw was, like, crazy high production value. They're inspirational how high their production value is. I love it. I love their shorter battle reports as well, but yeah, I haven't watched that many. I probably should try and watch more Play on Tabletop, actually. There's a Russian-speaking Warhammer channel. I didn't know that, but cool. I mean, I guess it would have been obvious that there would have been channels in other languages-ish. I guess for me, I only speak English, so I'm not looking any further than that. Campbell's got Play on Tabletop Tactics, and then BAC. Thanks, Campbell, for the support every week. I do appreciate it. 40k in 40 minutes is great. Is that a series from Play on Tabletop, or is that something else? Okay, cool. 40k in 40 minutes. That's a catchy title. That's pretty clever, actually. I think we need to get a smaller brush to do all these, like, Aquila things on their legs, right? Like, I'm gonna do all that gold. I am going to do it all gold. Just deciding. I don't think I'm going to do that tonight because it's 5 to midnight already. But that's definitely going to be a plan for this guy. We'll do all that. I think we'll aim to do all that gold. Similar to the chess piece, and then I guess we'll wash it with, like, I like to wash gold with, like, Reichland Flesh Shade and make it more like a bronze afterwards. Wolfgar, thank you so much. Becoming a company veteran. That's a serious membership, dude. Thank you. Make sure you link up your Discord account to you. So what you do is you load Discord, you click on connections, I believe, and then you connect your Discord account to your YouTube account, and then you get into our members only room. So please do that. Please come in and chat. I try and get everyone to make sure that they use the Discord and they come in, and if you've got any questions, like I generally try and check the members only Discord every day. Probably multiple times a day. I mean, sometimes I don't, but that's my aim, to try and make sure I check it every day and answer questions. Plus, we got a bunch of other people in that Discord that are super helpful as well. So please make sure you use it. Wolfgar, appreciate the subscription. Much appreciated, dude. You're a legend. Thank you. Tom says my son likes Play On, not a battle report, but really appreciate Auspex Tactics myself. I mean, Auspex Tactics is the go-to guy when you want to know a rule or something of that nature, right? Like, the guy has covered everything. He's a machine, honestly. Like, in terms of like how much content he puts out, he's a machine. I don't know how he does it. He must just wake up in the morning and script and write YouTube videos like all day, every day, and then pivot. The second Games Workshop come out with a new community article, he must be in the middle of making a video and just be like, whoa, shit, new community article, pivot, and just completely switch up and make another video. Like, the guy's a machine. Auspex gave me a shout out a couple of times actually in videos as well, so that was cool. Yeah, Hellstorm was good to keep up with the meta. He's doing a big tournament, I think, this year, right? So I decided I'm going to make these claws a little bit like lightning claws, I think. I'm going to do them blue, and then maybe I'll edge highlight like some tempo guard blue or something, and then maybe like a bit of a dry brush of white might be the way to do these. This is sometimes why I coat areas with Dawnstone, because like they always talk about 2 thin coats, don't they, right? And like if you just put this blue over the top of the red, you would definitely be needing 2, maybe 3 thin coats, but I always think that if you coat it with Dawnstone first, I think I probably will do a second coat on this, just to get smoother coverage, but you could probably live with just 1 coat over the top of the Dawnstone, right? Like, it doesn't look bad. Like, the blue isn't patchy, it's decent. Alright, I got a few more minutes. It's Sunday tomorrow, so I'm gonna have the army list show on Sunday night for sure. So regardless of when I finish here tonight, but I mean, I'm gonna be back tomorrow anyway. But what the fuck is this? A little bit of fluff or something stuck to it. I need to look at like one of those Firstborn fists and remember how I painted them previously. Contemptor dreadnoughts, I mean, I guess this is a variant on a Contemptor. They have a lot of ridges of bits where it's like you can sort of see underneath. You can see just edges and stuff that need painted. This cloak's obscuring quite a lot of the back of the model, which is a little bit annoying. I'm going to do one shoulder pad black and one shoulder pad red as well. I think it might have been a blessing that the spear broke off, because there's areas of the model I just wouldn't have been able to get to with the spear still attached. I think I'll stick on half of it for my game this week, maybe. Then aim to stick on the other half when I'm a little bit further with painting. I wish you were into Chaos Space Marines. You could... Brett's a big Chaos Space Marine problem. What's the problem you're having with Chaos Space Marines, dude? Oh, yeah, I'm gonna have to go to bed soon. It's late. I didn't realize these whole things are like some sort of like jet thing, so I'm actually gonna paint the whole thing silver. I just originally painted the grate, but I think I'll do the whole thing silver. Who is this guy? I mean, he started life as Adeptus Custodes Dreadnought, and then the one with the spear, I think it's called the Venator. It's a Contemptor Dreadnought. Then he got the spear. The spear's here on the table. I just broke it tonight when I dropped him by accident. So he was going to be like a conversion for like a Librarian Dreadnought, just like a much cooler version looking of the Librarian Dreadnought. That's why I'd already cut off his arm and put on a claw, because the Custodes one just has the spear, like the other one it's just a hand. He used to have a hand here, right? So I cut off his hand and put on like a claw for like making him into a Librarian Dreadnought. But it just turns out that basically this is the exact same ornaments basically as Guilliman has. So this is going to be, for my tournament, this is probably going to be my proxy for Guilliman. He's slightly bigger, so it's like slightly disadvantageous to me, I guess, to field him this way. But I think that we're probably only going to be fielding Guilliman in the Arcs of Omen season, right, for Blood Angels? Because it's a bit like... it's a bit of a crazy season where anything goes. Reminds me of that song from like Cabaret, is it? Anything Goes? Sure, that's Cabaret. It's a long time since I've seen a musical. So I think it's a season of like trying crazy shit out, like Guilliman with the Blood Angels. And I didn't really want to buy him for like, well, I'm going to use him in one event, because after the event that I'm going to in March, I kind of promised my wife that I wasn't going to do any events for 6 months, because we've got a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and the two of them together are nightmarish. So I promised that I wouldn't be away any weekends for like 6 months to help out. So after this event in March, I already booked the next event. Like I'm doing one in February. No, not February, sorry, September. And I'll be going away from home for like a night for that. So I'll have to leave the wife with the kids. And I can tell you, sometimes I get left home without the wife for like 4 hours with both kids. And both kids alone are a nightmare. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's that many dedicated channels to individual factions. I think I'm... I don't know. I wanted to say that I was the biggest, maybe, for one faction. But I don't know. I don't know who. I know there's a guy that does corn. His channel is called The Red Path. I've seen it a couple of times, but I don't know who else is doing content specifically for an individual faction or army. But I mean, I guess because I'm just playing Blood Angels, I'm not really searching for them, so they maybe exist, I'm just not finding them because I'm not searching for them, right? Alright, I'm just going to slap a very quick second coat on this cape, and then I'm going to bed, guys. So we got one more person towards the member goal of 2022 tonight, which is cool. Well, not the member goal of 2022, the member goal of February. I was trying to get... I've just set the goal as 5 new subscribers a month. I feel like that's an achievable goal, and I think that it doesn't intimidate people. So I think when I was trying to get 10 new subscribers every month, there was a lot of months that I wasn't managing it. So I've just set my goal now to like 5 new... It's not subscribers, is it? 5 new channel members a month. Some months we obviously won't do it, some months we will. It's only like the 11th of February today, right? So having 4 this month already rocks. So thank you to everyone that's become a new member, and I guess especially Wolfgar, because he just... How do you say it? Wolfgar, is that right? Is it a play on the... There's a Dungeons and Dragons character called Wolfgar. Spelled slightly differently, I think. In Dungeons and Dragons it's spelled W-U... Wolf? Yeah, is it a play on that character, or is it just a unique name? John, this blue might actually need a 3rd coat here, I think. Maybe the paint's just... I thinned it down a lot because that pot of paint has not been used much. So, I always think it's better to go thinner rather than thicker though, right? Because like, if it's thin, you can always fix it. If it's too thick, then you've kind of fucked your model. But yeah, so I think what I'll do is I'll definitely do a 3rd coat of this Dark Reaper on this cape, and then I'll probably do blacks and greys to try and add some like highlights / depth to it. I think my next painting session might be on this guy again, or I might go do some, because I was doing 5 extra Death Company with hammers, and they're really unfinished, and I already ran them to a tournament where they were really unfinished, and I hate running really unfinished models, because usually tournaments have like a, you know, you can display your army and you can sometimes win like an award for painting. So I hate going to events where, well, one, I'm not going to win anything because the army's half finished, but I also just generally like seeing a completed army on the table. Hate fielding half finished unpainted stuff. So I might finish this guy, or I might jump back onto the Death Company for a little bit, we'll see. Probably next time I'll be hobbying is Thursday night this week. So maybe I'll catch some of you guys on Thursday night, probably around the same time. So Army List show tomorrow. I might have a video coming out about Tau this week, or fighting against Tau. And then I might have a battle report on Wednesday night where we're fighting the Iron Hands again, and I'll run something completely different because I'm trying to get a handle on this edition, right? What's strong, what's not. Where can I buy a Blood Angels Contemptor Dreadnought? I mean, Forge World used to have them. They might not be selling the specifically Blood Angels one right now. It used to be Forge World, which you can just get via the Games Workshop site. But yeah, they might not actually be specifically selling. Does anyone know? Are they selling or are they not selling at the moment? I know you can just buy Contemptor Dreadnoughts from Games Workshop, and they've got new Horus Heresy Contemptor Dreadnoughts. So I mean, you should be able to just pick up if you're looking for the Blood Angel chassis, though, like the chest piece and stuff. That just might not be available at the moment. Yeah, Tau have a tendency to shoot anything off the board in turn one, especially if it's a new model. There's a rule that we talk about, which is new model syndrome, which is anytime you've bought something new, the first game you run it in, it will be destroyed before it gets to do anything. And like, you'd be amazed how often that happens. And it's called new model syndrome. I don't know if everybody experiences it, but definitely feel like we experience it. Alright, I am calling it a night. I'll see you guys tomorrow night for the Army List show. If you want to submit a list, you can, but it will be a couple of weeks away. So we'll be live tomorrow by about 9:30. Probably for like 2 hours while we go over a bunch of Army lists. It's always a fun show. If you've never stopped past, please consider doing it. If you enjoyed tonight's stream, remember, please hit the like button. It takes like 2 seconds to hit that like button. It does help me out a lot. Basically lets YouTube know that my content doesn't suck. So I appreciate it. And if you hit the like button, then what I'll do is I will stick this guy's arm back on for next stream. Because armless dreadnoughts, or spearless dreadnoughts rather, need to be fixed. Alright, I'll catch you guys later. Have a good night. Blood Angels Contemptor's out of stock at Forge World. Might not return as GW are phasing out the Contemptor range and replacing it with unique chest sculpts for each faction. Yeah, they did a post about that this week, so you might just need to buy a Contemptor Dreadnought and just wait for them to release the new chest sculpts. I know that's not ideal, but you could always run it with just the standard chest and use transfers to make it cool, right? You can do that as well, so maybe that's a good option. Alright, enjoy your evening. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.